Susan asked how to maintain SEO on a website and maintain Google Ads. How often do we need to check keywords? Also, how to know we updated Google Ads with their new rules and changes. So I'm going to talk briefly about this. It is an important topic. I do talk about it every once in a while on the podcast, but there might be a different angle here on this. To maintain SEO on your website, I don't recommend any studio owner do this on their own. I would say get a good developer that will make sure that you are at least compliant with the rules that Google puts out, that you're at least compliant with what Google's looking for when they when they send their robot crawlers to your site. One thing you can do to know whether or not whether your site is compliant is you can just go to Google search, type in Google search, free SEO analyzer or website SEO analyzer. There are so many free tools out there where you'll just enter your URL and it will do an analysis and give you a grade on that. There are so many, I'm not even going to bother. Like if you just go to Google and type that in, you'll find those. That is the extent to which I think a studio owner should handle their own SEO. I will make this point. I don't make a lot of friends when I say this, but I'm not interested in making friends. I'm more interested in the truth. That sounds weird, but here we go anyway. If you are working with someone who's doing your SEO and they're charging you like $200 a month, $400 a month, it's not worth it. Any SEO that is truly going to be helpful for you is going to cost you at least $1,000 a month. If you've got a developer that says they also do SEO and it's like a little add-on that they have, I'm not saying that they're disreputable or whatever, but they're probably not doing much. And the difference between something like that, which a lot of times I can't even tell the effect of that when I've had a client who says that they have that going on, and then I look at their actual traffic. The difference between that and someone who's actually doing hardcore heavy-duty SEO and they're good at it is, I'm just going to point this out. There's a client of mine who went from 20 leads a month to 70 leads a month in about a 6-month period, like literal form fills on her website because of the SEO guy she was working with. That's what a good SEO could do, and it's worth every penny. So I'll just end my thoughts on SEO there. In terms of Google Ads, Google did make some major changes, 2 major changes within the last year. Fortunately, at this point, Google is still, if you have an account that was running ads prior to the major changes last year and some of the minor changes this year, if you have ads that have been running during that time, you are grandfathered in. You cannot make your ads like you used to, but they will still work. And I have clients who I have access to their Google accounts, and they're running the same account that they have been for the last 5 years, and their numbers have stayed roughly the same. So if you have a legacy account, it'll still work fine. One of the questions here was, how often do we need to check keywords? I will just say that I would sometimes go months without ever actually logging into my Google account once I had it optimized and running really, really well. So this does not have to be something that you do quite often. However, if you are in a suburban area or an area where there's a lot of competition, it might behoove you to check it more frequently, especially now, because basically I'm comparing now to when I was really running Google Ads hot and heavy in the late 2010s. Mid to late 2010s. The game has changed somewhat. I probably couldn't get away with that now, going months without checking it. But the main thing that you would want to check on a somewhat frequent basis, maybe at least once a month, maybe a couple times a month, is to actually go into your master keyword list and see if you're even showing up. If competition has increased their bids, you might have some error messages on your keyword list where it says you aren't even being shown because your bid's too low. And it'll literally be a warning there. And they'll tell you what you have to raise your bid to beat the competitors who've raised their bids around you. That's one thing I would do. I just check to make sure that your keywords are actually even showing up. The second thing would be to check to make sure the relevance of your searches is still high. So you can go in at the ad group level or the campaign level, and you can actually check to see the terms for which you are showing up even. And you need to check to make sure that what people are typing in and then your ads are getting shown for is actually relevant to you. So if you're teaching piano lessons and you're charging for it, and you go into your keyword list and you see that one of the things that someone typed in that made your ad show up was the word free piano lessons. They literally typed that in and then your ad showed up. Well, that's not a very good search for you. Because if that person were to see your ad and then click it, they're probably not the kind of person that maybe is going to pay the rates that you're asking for. So what I would do in that situation is I would go into the negative keyword list and add free as a negative, so that if someone types in the word free anywhere in their search in conjunction with the word piano lessons, they won't even show your ad. So those are the two things that I would do on a somewhat regular basis. Check your budget or check your bids, and check to make sure the relevance of the searches that you're showing up for is high. That's the two things. Let's see. I think that's where I'll end on that one. Any follow-up questions to that, Nate, or anyone here?
No, I'm seconding what you're saying. I'm just going to be honest here. I went 10 years trying to do SEO in-house, trying to manage our Google Ads in-house. I think, Daniel, when you and I started first working together, we were doing it in-house. And then I finally was like, what am I doing? And I outsourced it, and I spend between, like Daniel said, we spend between $800 and $1,200 or $1,300, $1,400 on our SEO, Google Ads manager. And then I just have a working knowledge of how to turn up or down my spend as needed on Google Ads. Like we are in a heavy enrollment period currently, so the ad spend is going up, but I will turn it down rapidly within 3 weeks, and it'll be down to just a trickle. And then I'll turn it way back up when we get to the holidays, moving into the spring season, right? I will turn it up only on summer camp, because we will sell our summer camp out in about 2 months. So that'll be like 280 enrollments or whatever it is, 300 students. But I will turn that spigot on full blast as long as needed. Daniel, getting back to your point, because I trust that they're built right and that they're effective. And why do I trust that they're built right and they're effective? Because the leads increased, back to Daniel's story, and the conversions increased, and the amount of time and effort we needed to put into marketing and sales decreased. And what does that lead to? Getting to spend time on what you care more about, which is taking care of your students.
Yeah. The only thing I would add to that is, I think for someone like Nate, who's running a school the size of BMF, I don't think it makes sense for Nate to be running his own Google Ads. He shouldn't be in there doing that. The size, the complexity of their programs, all the things that they're, all the different programs that they're promoting. There's a level of complexity there in the account setup, in running it, and managing the conversion rates for it, that just makes it not a great use of his time, because Nate also has all that complexity to manage in terms of his team and his staff and all the other factors that go into running a school of that size. I still think if you are a single teacher studio, I still think it makes sense to educate yourself well enough on that to do it yourself, because the complexity is an order of magnitude lower. And the cost to have someone do it well is probably prohibitively high for the outcome that you'll get from it. And I do still think that Google Ads is not as complex. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Google Ads isn't very complex. It's something that one could learn to do well within a month or two. That's why we have a training on it. And because of the outsized return you could get from it, I still think it's a smart thing for school owners to do it. I know I've been saying that for 8 years, but I just want to maintain again that I still think for a smaller studio or smaller school, still probably makes sense for them to handle it in-house, simply because of all the factors I just mentioned. So this isn't over against what Nate said. It's the nuance of what Nate said, because I agree, Nate, you shouldn't be doing it yourself. But Joe, piano teacher, who has 30 students right now and a lot of time and wants to get to 60 students, it probably makes sense to invest in a course where he can learn to do that so that he can have a full studio for the next 10 years. And what I will tell you is that, because I did that, I mean, it changed my career. And I went from struggling to maintain 40, 50 students to getting like 200 lead requests a year where I could just have my pick of whoever got in touch with me. And that was on a very small ad budget. So those are my thoughts.